A black doorman answered a call in Dutch in front of a billionaire. Then she asked him to stay. Quinton Rivers straightened his Navy doorman uniform as the clock showed 6:47 p.m. at the Meridian, Manhattan's most exclusive building. At 29, after 8 years working evening shifts, he'd mastered the art of invisibility that wealthy residents required. What they didn't know was that behind his professional smile lay a master's degree in international business from Columbia and fluency in 4 languages. Rivers, Harold Pemberton, the building manager, approached frantically. Mrs. Chen in 12B expects an important European delivery tonight. Carmen Vasquez, evening cleaning staff, whispered to Quinton. New penthouse owner moving in tonight. Victoria Whitmore, tech billionaire, only 27, bought it for $68 million cash. At 7:15 p.m., a black Bentley arrived. The woman who emerged wasn't what Quinton expected. Victoria Whitmore was stunning. Platinum blonde hair, striking blue eyes. But more than her beauty, her intelligent energy caught his attention. Unlike most residents who barely acknowledged him, her eyes met his directly. "Good evening, Ms. Whitmore. Welcome to the Meridian," Quinton said, holding the door. "Thank you." She read his name tag. "Quinton, I appreciate it." Using his name was unusual enough to make him notice. 20 minutes later, Victoria reappeared in casual clothes. "Quinton, can you recommend good coffee nearby? Nothing fancy, just somewhere real." Most residents asked for Michelin-starred restaurants. Coffee recommendations were decidedly normal. Cafe Luna, 3 blocks south. Maria Rodriguez makes the best espresso outside Italy. Not fancy, but authentic. "Perfect, thank you." As Victoria headed for the door, Quinton's phone rang. International number. "Good evening, Meridian Building," he answered. "Goedenavond. Ik ben op zoek naar mevrouw Victoria Whitmore," came rapid Dutch. Without thinking, Quinton responded fluently. "Goedenavond, mevrouw. Ja, mevrouw Whitmore is inderdaad vandaag ingetrokken. Mag ik vragen wie er spreekt?" Victoria stopped dead, turning with wide eyes. The caller was Dr. Helena van der Berg from Amsterdam about business. Quinton smoothly handled the call, taking a message. After hanging up, Victoria stood directly before his desk, staring. "You speak Dutch," she said, amazed. "Among other things." That was Dr. van der Berg from Hartwell Industries. "Where did you learn Dutch?" Quinton hesitated. The honest answer involved his master's program, which would raise questions about why someone with his education worked as a doorman. "I've always been interested in languages." "What other languages?" "Spanish, French, German." "And you work as a doorman?" The statement hung loaded with implications. Before he could respond, Victoria's assistant Rebecca appeared. "Victoria, the Amsterdam call?" "I got the message." "Rebecca, Quinton speaks fluent Dutch." "That's remarkable," Victoria said, studying him intently. "What time do you get off work?" 11 p.m.? "Too late. Can someone cover?" Diego Santos, security guard, offered to stay late, clearly enjoying the drama. "Quinton, meet me at Bellecourt Restaurant at 8. We need to talk." Before he could object, Victoria had swept out, leaving him stunned. "Dude," Diego grinned, "I think you just got asked out by a billionaire." Bellecourt was where Quinton would normally check coats, not dine. Victoria had chosen a private corner table, elegant in navy blue, blonde hair soft around her shoulders. "You came," she said as he sat. "You made it sound like a command." Victoria laughed genuinely. "I'm told I can be rather direct." After ordering, Victoria leaned forward. "Tell me about yourself, Quinton Rivers. What would you like to know?" "Everything. Start with why someone who speaks 4 languages fluently works as a doorman." Quinton had rehearsed this conversation, but sitting across from Victoria, he wanted honesty. "I have a master's degree in international business from Columbia." Victoria's eyebrows rose. "Columbia. When did you graduate?" 3 years ago. "And you've been a doorman for 8 years. Why?" It was the dreaded question. The honest answer involved family obligations, student debt, and a job market that overlooked qualified black candidates. "Family reasons. My mother was a UN translator before she got sick. She taught me Spanish and French. I learned Dutch and German in graduate school." "Your mother was a UN translator? That's impressive." "She was brilliant. Spoke 8 languages fluently." "Was. She died 4 years ago. Cancer. I'm sorry." Victoria's sympathy seemed genuine. "Is that why you kept the doorman job?" Quinton nodded. To pay for her medical care. Now I help support my sister Lisa. She's in medical school at Howard. Victoria processed this quietly. I have a proposition. Quinton tensed, expecting charity disguised as opportunity. I'm expanding my company's European operations. I need someone who understands international business and can communicate with partners in Amsterdam, Berlin, Madrid. You need a translator. I need a liaison. Someone representing my company in high-level negotiations, understanding cultural nuances that make or break international deals. And you think I'm that person based on one phone call? Based on a Columbia MBA, fluency in 4 languages, and intelligence to handle Dr. Vanderberg like you'd been doing it for years. What exactly are you offering? Director of European Relations, mid-6-figure salary, full benefits, equity participation, an opportunity to actually use your education. The offer was so beyond expectations that Quinton initially wondered if he'd misheard. Why? You know nothing about my work experience, character, abilities beyond speaking Dutch. Victoria smiled, slightly uncomfortable, because I've been watching you for 3 hours since moving in. I watched you handle 6 different situations with residents, contractors, delivery people. You were professional, efficient, diplomatic with everyone from elderly women needing help to obnoxious hedge fund managers demanding taxis in rain. That's my job. Your job is opening doors and signing packages. You were managing people and solving problems. That's what I need in Europe. Victoria, you don't know me. I could be incompetent, unreliable, dishonest. My instincts tell me you're none of those things. Your instincts, my instincts, combined with someone who speaks 4 languages and has a Columbia MBA but chooses doorman work to support family is probably more principled than 90% of people I've worked with. The directness was reassuring. This felt different from charity. I'd need 2 weeks' notice at the building. Of course. And I'd want to start part-time during transition. Reasonable. And I'd want it clearly understood this is professional. I don't want anyone thinking I got this opportunity because a wealthy white woman took pity on me. Victoria's eyes flashed. Quinton, if I were taking pity, I'd give you money. I'm offering a job because I think you can make me money. Significant difference. When would you want me to start? Soon as possible. I'm flying to Amsterdam next month for the Hartwell Industries merger. I'd like you to come, where you can speak Dutch with Dr. Vanderberg and help navigate cultural expectations for a $300 million deal. As they finished dinner, Victoria paying despite his protests, Quinton realized his life was about to change, unpredictably. Victoria, why are you really doing this? Victoria was quiet, then spoke with unexpected vulnerability. Because I've spent my career being underestimated due to age and gender. I know what it's like being the smartest person in the room while everyone assumes you're there because of who your father is. And I think you know what it's like being the smartest person in the room while everyone assumes you're there to serve coffee. Walking out together, Quinton realized Victoria had offered more than a job. She'd offered the chance to be seen for who he really was instead of what he appeared to be. The question was whether he was brave enough to take it. 2 weeks later, Quinton stood in his 38th floor Manhattan office, wearing a tailored suit Victoria had insisted the company purchase. The transformation from doorman to Director of European Relations felt surreal, but the work was challenging and engaging. The Germans want to modify the distribution agreement, Rebecca informed him. Something about exclusive territorial rights. Expected. German companies typically negotiate regional exclusivity as standard practice. Victoria wanted to see him about the Amsterdam presentation. He found her at floor-to-ceiling, windows, speaking fluent Mandarin. "How's your first day?" she asked, ending her call. "Productive. I've reviewed the German situation and Amsterdam agenda." "Good. There's something you should know about Amsterdam. Some people will have opinions about our working relationship." "What kind of opinions?" "The kind assuming a young black man in expensive suits is either my bodyguard or boyfriend, rather than Director of European Relations. How do you want to handle that? By being professional, competent, completely indifferent to their assumptions. Your credentials speak for themselves. Are you sure you want complications? You could hire qualified white consultants who wouldn't raise eyebrows." Victoria's expression hardened. "Quinton, if I made decisions based on others' prejudices, I'd still be working in my father's company instead of running my own empire. This is different. It's exactly the same. People made assumptions about my capabilities based on appearance. I proved them wrong by being better at my job. Before Quinton could respond, Thomas Anderson, Victoria's business partner and CFO, entered with barely controlled frustration. "Victoria, we need to talk. Privately. Anything you say to me, you can say to Quinton." Thomas, a tall man with gray hair and entitled confidence from old money, looked uncomfortable. "The board has concerns about recent hiring decisions." "Which decisions?" "You can't promote the building's doorman to director without consulting the board." "I can and did. Quinton is exceptionally qualified. He has no relevant experience. He has a Columbia MBA and speaks 4 languages fluently." Thomas glanced dismissively at Quinton. "This isn't about qualifications, it's about optics. What will European partners think when we show up with—" He gestured vaguely. "With our Director of European Relations? You know what I mean." "No, Thomas. Explain exactly what you mean." Silence fell as Thomas realized he'd cornered himself. He couldn't articulate objections without revealing their racist foundation. "What Thomas means," Quinton interjected diplomatically, "is concern about European partners working with someone unknown." "Then it's good Dr. Vanderberg specifically requested Quinton handle cultural liaison aspects." This was news to Quinton, but he kept his expression neutral. After Thomas left, muttering about consulting other board members, Victoria apologized. "I should have warned you not everyone would be supportive. It's expected. But if this causes problems with business partners, Thomas Anderson thinks his money gives him hiring input. It doesn't. Besides, once they see your Amsterdam results, they'll be too busy counting money to worry about optics." That evening, Quinton's sister Lisa called from Howard Medical School. "How was your first day as big shot international executive?" "Complicated but good." "Because you're black?" "Because I'm black, and Victoria hired me based on 5-minute conversation instead of traditional interviews." "And how is famous Victoria Whitmore?" Quinton hesitated, realizing his feelings were becoming complex. "She's impressive, smart, direct, focused on results rather than appearances." Oh, that's your I'm attracted but trying not to admit it voice." "Lisa, she's my boss. A billionaire boss who hired me for a job, not romance. You're brilliant, handsome, accomplished, speak 4 languages, understand international business. Why wouldn't she be interested?" "Because we're from completely different worlds." After ending the call, Quinton wondered if he was strong enough to succeed despite obstacles, and whether Victoria would truly support him when challenges became more serious than awkward board meetings. The Amsterdam flight gave Quinton his first glimpse into Victoria's world of private jets and seamless luxury. As they crossed the Atlantic, Victoria worked while Quinton reviewed cultural briefings. "Nervous?" Victoria asked. "Focused. This meeting could make or break your European expansion." "Our European expansion. You're part of this now." Dr. Helena Vanderberg met them at Hartwell Industries' Amsterdam headquarters. She was 50s, silver-haired, with sharp intelligence and Dutch directness. "Ms. Whitmore, welcome. And you must be Mr. Rivers. Your Dutch was quite impressive." "Dank je wel, Dr. Vanderberg. Het is een eer om u te ontmoeten." Quinton replied smoothly. Dr. Vanderberg's eyebrows rose with genuine surprise. "Excellent pronunciation. Where did you learn Dutch so well?" "Columbia University. Continued practice with Dutch business publications." The meeting was masterful international diplomacy. Dr. Vanderberg presented concerns about market penetration, distribution, cultural adaptation, with typical Dutch directness. For 3 hours, Quinton served as cultural interpreter and strategic advisor, helping Victoria understand nuances while demonstrating his grasp of European business expectations. "In the Netherlands," he explained during a break, "business relationships are built on personal trust developed over time. Dr. Vanderberg isn't just evaluating our proposal, she's evaluating whether she can trust us as long-term partners. And I think we're passing." Victoria's smile was warm. "You're amazing at this." That evening at Dr. Vanderberg's private club, over traditional Dutch cuisine, the conversation became personal. "Mr. Rivers, your background is unusual. Most Americans with your abilities work for State Department or consulting firms. I took a less traditional path. How so?" "I worked service industries while completing education. It gave different perspective on how businesses actually function. Excellent. Too many executives have never actually worked. They understand theories, but not realities. Back at their hotel, Victoria knocked on Quinton's door carrying wine glasses, wearing a simple black dress. I wanted to celebrate. Today was complete success. It went well. Dr. Vanderberg was genuinely impressed. She specifically said working with you made her confident about our partnership. Victoria moved closer. You were brilliant today. Commanding, knowledgeable, completely in control. Victoria was standing very close now. Victoria, I think you should go back to your room. Why? Because we're in Amsterdam on business. We've been drinking and you're my boss. And I'm attracted to you in ways that have nothing to do with business. And that's a complication neither of us needs. You're attracted to me. That's not the point. It's exactly the point. Quinton, I'm attracted to you too. Since that first night when you handled Dr. Vanderberg's call with such competence. When Victoria kissed him, it felt like everything he'd been resisting finally breaking free. For a moment, he forgot about power dynamics and simply responded to the woman in his arms. Then reality reasserted itself, and he gently pulled away. Victoria, we can't do this. Why not? Because you're a billionaire, and I'm your employee. Because we're from different worlds. Because this could destroy everything we've built professionally. Or it could be the beginning of something amazing. And if it's not, I lose my job, career prospects, ability to support my sister's education. Victoria stepped back, expression serious. You think I'd punish you professionally if we tried a relationship and it didn't work? I think you're a powerful woman used to getting what you want, and I'm not sure what happens when you don't get it. You think I'm some spoiled princess who destroys people who disappoint me? I think you're brilliant and accomplished, but never had to worry about consequences of emotional risks because you've always had money and power for insulation. You're right. I have been insulated from consequences, but I've never been insulated from loneliness, from assumptions that people only want me for money, from fear that no one will see me as more than my net worth. That's not how I see you, isn't it? You just told me you think I'm too spoiled and powerful to be trusted with your heart. I told you I'm too practical to risk my livelihood on a relationship that might not survive the real world. What would it take for you to believe it might survive? Time. It would take time to build trust that could bridge the gap between our worlds. Then we'll take time. But promise me you'll give us a chance. Someday when you're ready to believe, this could be real. As Victoria left, Quinton realized she'd offered something more precious than money or career advancement. She'd offered the possibility of being loved for exactly who he was. The question was whether he was brave enough to believe it could last. How's this story hitting you so far? Tell us in the comments. If you're loving it, type 1. If not, type 0. We want to know what you think. 6 weeks after Amsterdam, Quinton had settled into his role with surprising competence. The Hartwell merger proceeded smoothly due to his cultural liaison work. His success had begun quieting board skepticism, though he still felt scrutiny his white colleagues didn't experience. What hadn't settled was tension between him and Victoria. They maintained professional boundaries, but he felt her watching during meetings, caught himself seeking excuses to spend time in her office. You're an idiot, his sister Lisa informed him during their weekly call. A beautiful, brilliant billionaire is interested, and you're worried about office politics. It's more complicated. Only because you're making it complicated. When has playing it safe ever gotten you anything? That evening, Quinton worked late when Victoria appeared carrying Thai takeout. Thought you might be hungry, she said. How did you know I was here? I may have asked security to notify me when you left each night, for safety reasons. As they shared dinner, conversation drifted to personal topics. Victoria told him about her lonely childhood with workaholic parents, struggles to be taken seriously in business. I started my first company at 22, a social media platform for professional women. My father called it a hobby. What happened? Sold it 3 years later for $47 million. That's when Daddy stopped calling it a hobby. Victoria moved her chair closer until their knees touched. Quinton, I think about you constantly. During meetings, conference calls, trying to fall asleep. I think about what a real relationship with you would be like. Victoria, I'm tired of pretending this is just professional respect. I'd like to take you to dinner tomorrow night, not as your boss, not for business, but as a woman interested in getting to know you better. Before Quinton could respond, Thomas Anderson walked in, stopping short, seeing them close together over takeout. "Oh, I didn't realize you were having dinner. We were discussing the Berlin expansion timeline," Victoria said smoothly, moving her chair back. "Of course. Victoria, I need to speak about the board meeting agenda." As Quinton gathered his things, he heard Thomas through the partially open door. "Victoria, I need to express concerns about the relationship developing between you and Rivers." "What relationship would that be?" "The entire office can see how you look at each other. It's becoming a distraction." "From what?" "From his job performance, your leadership credibility, the professional image this company needs." "Thomas, Quinton's performance has been exemplary. Amsterdam is proceeding ahead of schedule. This isn't about performance. A relationship between you and Rivers would raise questions about his qualifications, your judgment, company professional standards." "What kind of questions?" "People will assume he's using his relationship with you to advance his career. And what will they assume about me? They'll assume you're making decisions based on personal feelings rather than business judgment, but not that I'm using him for advancement or favors." Interesting how assumptions only run one direction. The next morning, Quinton found a handwritten note. "Dinner tonight, 7 p.m. at Maria. This time, it's definitely a date. V." Looking at Victoria's elegant handwriting, Quinton reached a decision point. He could continue protecting himself by maintaining boundaries, or trust in his worth and Victoria's integrity. He texted back, "Yes, looking forward to it." For the first time in his adult life, Quinton Rivers was going to stop protecting himself and start fighting for what he wanted. At Maria, Victoria arrived in an emerald dress that brought out gold flecks in her blue eyes. When she smiled across the table, Quinton felt his professional reserve crumbling. "You look beautiful." "Thank you. You clean up well yourself." They ordered expensive wine and settled into conversation they'd been avoiding. "Tell me about your family beyond basics. What was childhood like?" "Different from yours. My parents worked hard to give Lisa and me opportunities they never had. Dad was a mechanic. Mom translated documents for immigrants. They saved 2 years to send me to overnight camp one summer." "That sounds wonderful. Like they prioritized your happiness." "They prioritized our futures. Everything was about building something better for the next generation. You don't take risks with security when people depend on you. And I represent a risk to your security. You represent a risk to everything I've built. This job, my ability to support Lisa, my professional reputation." Victoria was quiet, processing his words. "What would it take for you to feel secure enough to take this risk?" "Honestly, I don't know. I've never been involved with someone who has power to change my life completely." "So what are you saying? We can't be together because I have more money?" "I'm saying the power imbalance makes this complicated in ways attraction can't overcome." "Then let's eliminate the power imbalance. Quit working for me. Start your own consulting firm. I'll be your first client." "Victoria, I can't just quit and start a company. I don't have financial resources for that risk." "I could provide startup capital." "No, absolutely not. Then I'd owe you financial security and my career." "That doesn't eliminate imbalance. It makes it worse." "So, what do you suggest?" "That we figure out how to build something real despite the economics. By taking it slow, building trust over time, proving this is about more than attraction or convenience." "You want to court me?" "I want to date you properly, take you places I choose, pay for dinners with money I earned, introduce you to my friends, my sister, my world, even though my world doesn't include private jets and 5-star restaurants, especially because my world doesn't include those things. If we're going to make this work, you need to understand normal life, and you need to understand my life. Charity galas, board meetings, social expectations from my family's position. Are you willing to risk family disapproval for this relationship?" "I've been disappointing my family for years, refusing their chosen candidates. At least this time, I'd be disappointing them for someone I actually care about." As they walked through Central Park, Victoria surprised him with an announcement. "My mother is hosting a charity gala next month. I'd like you to come with me, as my date." That would be making a very public statement. Yes, it would. Are you ready for that scrutiny? The gossip, speculation, assumptions? Are you? What happens if we show up together and it's a disaster? Then we learn something about my friends and family, and we decide whether their opinions matter more than our feelings. Victoria stopped walking and faced him directly. Quinton, I can't promise this will be easy. I can't promise everyone will accept us or that we won't face challenges because of our backgrounds. What can you promise? I can promise I'm willing to fight for this relationship. I see you as an equal partner, not someone I'm rescuing, and my feelings for you are real, regardless of what anyone thinks. Standing under streetlights, with Victoria looking at him with complete honesty, Quinton realized he'd reached another decision point. Okay, I'll go to your mother's gala as your date. Really? Really? But we do this right. We tell your parents about us before the gala. We're honest with my sister, and we face whatever consequences come from going public. Agreed. When Victoria kissed him, it was with promise of a future they would build together, challenges and all. 3 months later, at Eleanor Whitmore's charity gala, Quinton and Victoria made their public debut as a couple. Despite initial skepticism from New York's social elite, Quinton's intelligence, education, and genuine commitment to charitable causes gradually won over even the most prejudiced observers. By evening's end, several prominent socialites had complimented Victoria on her choice of partner, and Thomas Anderson had been forced to publicly acknowledge Quinton's exceptional contributions to the company's European expansion. You know what this means, Victoria said as they waited for their car. What? We're officially a couple in society's eyes. No going back now. Second thoughts? Victoria stood on tiptoes to kiss him softly. Never. Are you? Never. I love you, Victoria Whitmore. I love you too, Quinton Rivers, and I can't wait to see what we build together. As their car pulled away from the Plaza Hotel, Quinton reflected on how much his life had changed since answering a phone call in Dutch. What started as simple, professional competence had led to the most meaningful relationship of his life. Sometimes the best things happened when you stopped playing it safe and started believing in your own worth. And sometimes, love really was strong enough to bridge any gap.